Hey, we are finishing out the week here on Guided by Faith. I'm your host, Jay Holland, and if you've not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. How can you not remember to listen to this if you don't subscribe? So take your little thumb, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, and let's move on with our podcast. So this is such a great daily encouragement. I just think it would be better if you make it a regular rhythm of your life. We're finishing our study this week, and it's been really good for me. We're kind of doing it in question form every day. We have a question centered around Romans 12, 9 through 13. As this single thought about let love be genuine, Paul takes 7 verses or 7 sentences in English, even though when Paul wrote it, it was all one single sentence. Let me read it again, and then we are on the last section today. Romans chapter 12, starting in verse 9. Let love be genuine. Abhor what is evil, hold fast to what is good. Love one another with brotherly affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Do not be slothful in zeal. Be fervent in spirit. Serve the Lord. Rejoice in hope. Be patient in tribulation. Be constant in prayer. Contribute to the needs of the saints and seek to show hospitality. Today we're going to talk about that last one. Contribute to the needs of the saints and seek to show hospitality. And all of this kind of spurred the question for me, and so it's going to be the question that I ask you, do you have a generous spirit? Do you have a generous spirit? And so, it kind of goes beyond, are you generous? Because I think for you to be generous typically means you have a generous spirit. And what I want to just kind of do is give you a couple of different strategic ways to think about this. Somebody with a generous spirit is somebody who realizes that everything that I've been given has been given of God, and the tighter I hold on to it, the more that it's actually not God's. It's mine, and I'm being selfish. So a generous spirit is, anything that I have, resources, time, words of encouragement, they were all given to me by God, and He wants me to be a good steward of them. And it's also about somebody that finds excitement in building others up. So that's through encouragement, but also through resources. And you realize, more stuff has not satisfied the pit in my soul. And I actually get a lot of satisfaction out of blessing other people. And there are 2 different ways that Paul mentions here that should be regular in our lives. The first is contribute to the needs of the saints, and then seek to show hospitality. So contributing to the needs of the saints, I would say, is speaking about monetarily, with your money, with your finances, with your physical stuff, taking care of the church, taking care of other believers. If you're old enough to listen to this and contemplate words, you are old enough to be a regular proportional giver in church. My mom and dad did a great job training me on this. When I was 4 years old, I got my first job. My mom had a flower nursery, and my job was to pick dead leaves off the flowers. And I got $2 a week, and I would give 20 cents. I was so proud to bring my 2 dimes every week to church and put them in the offering. 10%, no big deal. Now, is 10% a law? No, it's not. 10% was an Old Testament tithe law, but they actually gave 2 different 10% offerings every year, and then every 3rd year they gave another one. So the Old Testament tithe was really like 23.333%. 10% is, I think, good training wheels for giving, and it's easier to do the younger you are. It's easier to do the less money you have, and that trains you when you get more money. So contributing to the needs of the saints, though, is not just tithing and giving your money to church. It's looking out for needs. It's taking care of needs. My wife and I, we have regular giving that we do to our church, to missionaries that we want to support. And then we have a separate bank account that's just called generosity. And this is because we know there's going to be things come up. There's going to be unknown needs of other people, and we want to be able to take care of those. It might be feeding them. It might be helping with a bill. It's just, I want to think ahead because God's given me resources, and I want to be ready to contribute to the needs of the saints. So the first part of a generous spirit, it may not be the first part, but one major aspect is, are you a regular giver of your money and resources to the Lord, to the people of the Lord, to the things that God cares about? The second is seek to show hospitality. seek to show hospitality. So I want to make people feel wanted and welcome. A couple major places. Let me give you like 3 places that you can do this. The first is your home. You should be wanting people to be in your home, to experience like the goodness of the Lord in your home, whether you're a student, whether you're a parent, whether you're single. Your home is a hub for ministry. It's a resource that God's given you, and you want to think ahead and make people feel welcome and wanted. I remember visiting a place sometime, and I was staying in a house and the guy wasn't even there, but I went into his bathroom and he had, I'll call them hospitality chocolates in his bathroom. These little Andes, the same ones that you get at Olive Garden. I can't remember what they're called, but those little chocolate mints. And I thought that was so cool. And so there was a period in my life before I had a lot of kids where like in our guest bathroom, we had hospitality chocolates. Now, when I had kids, they just ate all the hospitality chocolates. So we don't do that anymore. But you're seeking to show hospitality. You're doing little things. So your home is one. Your church is a huge one. What happens a lot of times is you want friends, you get to a church, you finally get friends, and then you forget that anybody else is lonely. Seeking to show hospitality means when I gather with the church, I'm not just there to see my friends. I'm there with eyes open for the next person coming through the door who doesn't have their people. And I want them to feel seen, welcomed, and wanted. So I want you to have very tight friendships, and you can't be tight with everybody. But the difference between a clique and healthy close friendships is a clique is closed and makes other people feel uncomfortable. And healthy close friendships are welcoming and wanting. They bring other people in. Even if you can't be tight friends with everybody, you can be gracious and welcoming. So that's number 2. So your home, your church, and then your school or work. Can you have eyes open? Can you be showing hospitality, making people feel seen, welcome, and wanted in your classrooms or at your job or on your sports team? Look out for the person who doesn't have somebody looking out for them. So these are kind of elements to our question today. Do you have a generous spirit? And if you're listening to this in the kind of the day or within the day that is coming out, you got the weekend, right? And so in your weekend, you're going to have some time maybe to have people in your house. Show them hospitality. Think ahead before they come. How can I make them feel welcome and wanted when they're here? And you're going to go to church. And when you go gather with the church, go with eyes open to see the next person coming through the door that needs a friend, that needs somebody to know their name. Learn people's names, bring them in, and you never know who's going to be your best friend a year from now that you don't even know right now. So have a generous spirit, contribute to the needs of the saints, seek to show hospitality. This has been such a helpful study for me this week. Romans 12, verses 9 through 13. I now see why it was all one sentence in the original Greek, because it's all about genuine love. And I pray this weekend that you can love genuinely, and I'll see you next week.